Hello everyone, it's Miss Mills here. I hope you're all well and keeping safe at home. Just going to do a really quick revision on how we use inverted commas, which will help you with your story writing for this week. So inverted commas are used to show when someone is speaking. They also show us where we need to create a different voice when we're reading for the character that is talking. So I'm going to take you through the different rules for using inverted commas, just to give you a little bit of a reminder, and then hopefully we'll be able to see them in your stories. So you have to keep your inverted commas at the beginning and the end of the words being spoken. Now in my sentence here, lower please are the only words that I would say out loud. Therefore my inverted commas will come at the start and at the end of what I'm saying, which is why they're at lower, and then they come after please. One of the golden rules of using inverted commas is that we have a new speaker and a new line. So you have to start a new line whenever somebody new is speaking. So my example here, Henry is speaking to start with. He said, "How are you doing today?" asked Henry. Now because Ashton is now talking, we have to go to a new line, and Ashton says, "I'm great," said Ashton. We also have to make sure that whenever we are using inverted commas, our direct speech, the thing that the person's saying, always starts with a capital letter. You can see that that's blue to make it stand out for you. My W is a capital. We also have to make sure that our speech is correctly punctuated. We have to have a piece of punctuation before our closing inverted comma or our second inverted comma. Now you can finish your sentence with a full stop, a comma, a question mark, or an exclamation mark. It will depend on the type of sentence you're writing to what punctuation you need to put at the end. We also have to have a reporting clause. So this gives us information about who is speaking and how they are speaking. So we can say said, but we know in year 3 that we can do better than that. So we can have reporting clauses such as mumbled, shouted, cried, whispered. And we can also say who's saying it. So we could say Emily mumbled, Harry shouted, Paul cried. So it tells us who's saying it and how they are saying it. So I've got a few examples for you here just to show you. So you can see in all my examples, I have my inverted commas around what the character is saying out loud. So my first example, I've got, "I'm hungry," she complained. And I've used a comma there as my punctuation mark before I close my speech. My next example is, "What's for tea?" she asked. Now, because that's a question, I have to have a question mark in there. And you'll see I've also got my capital letter. And again, my inverted commas are around what is being said. Now, she asked a question there, "What's for tea?" And because mum's replying, that golden rule, I have to go to a new line because it's a new speaker. So mum said, "Delicious ants," her mum replied. And because she's making a statement there, she's used an exclamation mark. And then I've got a couple of examples that might help you with your story because we've asked you to write a story around a flying saucer. So I've got an example here where my speech isn't at the start of my sentence. I've got Emily shouted, that's my reporting clause. "What is that flying in the sky?" And again, you can see my inverted commas around the bit she says out loud. And then I've also used a question mark there for my punctuation because again, she's asking a question. "It looks like a flying saucer," Jack replied. Now I had to do that on a new line because Jack is a new speaker. And again, I've got my capital letter, I've got my inverted commas around what my character is saying out loud, and I've also got my exclamation mark, which is my punctuation before I close my speech. So it was just a really quick reminder on how we use inverted commas there. So obviously you can keep these examples up to help you whilst you're writing your stories. But I hope you're all staying home, staying safe, and obviously we really hope that we get to see you all soon.